Hey everyone, my name is Danielle and welcome back to my channel. It is the start of Weekendween Monster Mash edition. I am attempting to daily vlog. This is the first time I have ever daily vlogged, ever planned to daily vlog. I don't know how that's gonna work out for me because I can barely get weekly vlogs up, let alone trying to record and edit in the same day. So we're gonna take this as best I can. If you don't know what Weekendween is, it is a readathon that was originally created from Summerween by Gabby from Gabby Reads and Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte. I will link them both down below. Pretty sure most people have heard about this. It is the excuse for all of us to read spooky, creepy, thriller, horror type of books. And this version is, I think, 4 days long, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, just in time for Halloween. So I will be attempting to record, edit, and post every single day for those days. So I will try to post for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We will see how this goes, but I'm really hoping that I can do this. I'm excited to participate. I love their readathons, their themes for all of these. It originally started with, I believe, Summerween a couple years ago at the end of August, maybe the beginning of September, and now they do one kind of every quarter-ish. So this one is the Monster Mash edition. Now, there are prompts for this readathon, and I'll go through them really quickly, but I don't know if I'm going to follow these super specifically, but I am going to attempt to fit my reads into this, but if not, I'm just going to read what I want to as long as it's spooky and creepy. The first one is to let a coin toss decide your first read, which I can probably do. I will pick 2 of these books. We'll do that in a second. The next one is to read a book with a monster in it or a monster on the cover. I think I have one. When we go through it, we'll see if I have that. The next one is to listen to a spooky audiobook or read a horror graphic novel. I actually am already planning to do both of those. I have 2 horror audiobooks that I would love to listen to, and I actually have a graphic novel in my little stack. And then the last one is to read a book in the dark or at night, which I kind of read at night anyway, but I will try to see if I can read in the dark. I do tend to read on my phone a lot anyway, so I can probably fit a book on there. If not, I read at night all the time anyway. So in my lovely basket, these are all of the books I would love to read. Can I get to all of these? Of course not. Wouldn't that be great? But I do plan on reading as many of these as I can. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly to talk about which ones are the most likely to happen and the ones that are if I get to them. So the 5 that I am the most excited to read and I want to hopefully get to this video are these ones. The first one that I have is Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. I think I'm actually going to start with this one or my next one. I'm going to do the coin toss between these 2, but this one is, I really actually have no idea. I think it is about a boy and his father, maybe, who died mysteriously. Yeah, and I think he starts seeing him like in their house. I'm really excited to try this. I've enjoyed books by Stephen Graham Jones, but a few of them haven't really worked for me. So hopefully this one will. It's pretty short. I think it's only 108 pages. I should get through this one really quickly. So either this one or my next one will be my first read. The next one that I have is Blackwater, and this is by Jeanette Arroyo and Ren Graham. This is a graphic novel that came out, I believe, not too long ago. I actually got this from my library, and I believe it is about these 2 boys dealing with a werewolf situation. I think one of them is a popular track star, and then the other one is kind of a quiet boy, and I think they kind of have like a little love story. So we'll see how this goes, but I think one of these 2 will be my first one. So we'll do a coin toss at some point, and one of these will be my first read for this readathon. The next one that I would love to get to is actually The Honeys by Ryan LaSala. This is a YA horror, I believe, about a character that is non-binary, and they are going back to like a summer camp type thing to figure out what happened to their sister. And there is this group, I think, that are called The Honey. No idea what to expect from this. I do tend to like YA horror. I think it is just very interesting because they have to invoke, you know, the senses of horror without being overly grotesque kind of thing. And, you know, they have to kind of get creative with what they have to do because they're kind of bound by a specific way. So very excited to try that one. I do have the audiobook for this from my library. Or is it from Scribd? Either way, I did find the audiobook, so that will be one I'm going to attempt to get to as well. Then the next one I would like to get to is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. This, I believe, is a gothic vampire book that follows a girl who becomes like a blood maid to a vampire. No idea besides that. I'm really excited to try. It's not too long either. I think it's less than 300 pages. Yeah, it's about 280. So I should hopefully be able to get to that one, but we'll see. That is another big one that I would love to read though. And then last of the ones that I'm hoping to read for physical books, or at least my main priorities, I have Echo by Thomas Old Hoevelt. And I believe this is about a man who returns from a climbing expedition. His friend is like missing and something might have come back with him from the mountain. And yeah, it looks very creepy. I love the cover, even though it's very uncomfortable. This one is a little longer though. It is 400 pages. So I don't know if I'll be able to get to that one just because it is a little longer. I don't know if I'll be able to fit it into a 4-day readathon, but I really wanted to read this one because I feel like this is going to be the most horror of all of the books that I have. Now, I am an incredibly bad mood reader. I know this about myself. I've always been one. So I've tried to pick out a bunch of alternative books that I can pick just in case. So I have things like Sign Here by Claudia Lux. I think this is about a person that helps the underworld and has to like get souls. I also have The Book Eaters by Suyi Dean, which I think is about a mother and son who eat books for knowledge, but then her son wants to eat like human brains for knowledge instead. I also have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I've never actually read Frankenstein and figure maybe this would be a good time to do it. It's relatively short, but the text is very small, so it could still take me a long time, and it's a classic and I struggle with that. And then I also have something a little lighter, Autonomy, a love story by Dana Schwartz. I just think this is about a girl and a boy who deal with death and they fall in love. So those are the physical ones that I hope to read. I am really trying to keep this as open as possible so that I feel like I can read. I've been really struggling. I've had a very hard time. It's very windy right now, sorry. I've had a really hard time with reading lately, so I'm trying to keep my options open as possible to get me to read, to want to read. I'll come back to you with which of these books we will start with, and we're gonna start the readathon, so hopefully this goes good. We'll find out. I did finish Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones, and I did really enjoy this. I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. So this little short novella is actually really, really good. I enjoyed reading this. This follows a 12-year-old, even though on the back he says he's 15, but he's 12 in the book. So I think that's kind of weird, unless I missed something. But it does say a 15-year-old thinks he sees a person in full Blackfeet regalia. But anyway, this follows a boy who sees his dead father in their home in full Blackfeet regalia and basically decides to try to figure out how he's seeing him, why he's seeing him, how he can make himself still see his father, and why his father is back. And it kind of is a big talk on your heritage, where you come from, your family, grief. There's a lot that's packed into this small little novella, 100 pages, and I really enjoyed reading this from this kid's point of view. It did kind of read almost stream of conscious at points. The writing definitely was a little interesting getting into because it does feel a little bit like you are in a 12-year-old's head. So it was kind of a little jarring at first jumping into this, but I did really enjoy the messages, the discussions in here, the horror elements that are brought into this as you're following this boy, you know, trying to see what his father is doing, trying to see his father, and dealing with, you know, some really hard times with his brother, because his brother definitely has something going on with him. You know, he's getting bullied at school for it. The neighbor next door is an asshole, and it was just really, really interesting. I do think I could have given this 5 stars if there's a section at the end that you kind of jump from that I feel like if it had been fleshed out a little bit, a little more to it, understand the reasoning for him to start doing what he does, I think I could have loved this even more. But overall, I did really, really enjoy this. So 4 stars, really liked that one. And I'm glad I read it. This is Miss Patchies. Patchies. patches. This is my youngest son's little kitty. We got them little kitties because we had a chance to. They love them, but this one is loud and annoying. Super cute, but she's a pain in the ass sometimes. This is our old grandpa cat, as my kids like to call him, old grandpa kitty. He is very old. He's my husband's kitty, but from before we got together, and he is like 14 years old. So he is an old man. He's a grandpa. I finished Blackwater. I think I'm only gonna give this like a 2.5. I didn't really love this that much. I think it had some really good rep in there, some interesting characters, but the only one I really liked was her, Marcia, I think. She was the most interesting character. I'm sorry, they're doing yard work next door and they're cutting a bunch of like pavers and shit, but so she was like the only character like I liked in this book. The other two were kind of insufferable, and so was the family. Their families were super shitty to them, and I feel like it never was really addressed well for me. Like, I really wanted a little bit more of a repercussion for the parents, for his mom and his dad. Like, I just didn't like that. And they kind of are mean to each other at points. Like, I don't know. I was not a big fan of this. I think the story was interesting. The plot was interesting, but I just felt like it could have been a lot more interesting, a lot more development with these characters and the plot line. And I do feel like this ended well enough. I was reading some Goodreads comments and they were saying like, oh, this like ended abruptly, where I'm like, I think it ended well enough, but I think it's kept open in case they wanted to like continue this series and write more graphic novels in this world. But I do not think it's something that I would continue, truthfully. Not a big fan. So yeah, only 2.5 for that one. But I mean, I've already completed 2 books for this so far, so I am excited about that portion of it. It is only noon. I'm home for lunch, so I read my book on there. I have to run back to work to take care of a couple more things, and then I'm gonna go get my kids. But while I'm doing that, we're gonna pick my next read. I'm so excited. I've already finished 2 books for this readathon. With how bad my reading has been the last month, this is my worst reading month so far. I've read the least amount of pages that I've read all year. That's been fun. I just cannot seem to focus on reading at all in any format, not even audiobooks. So I think I'm actually going to switch over to listening to the audiobook of The Honeys, because I'm very excited for this one. Heard good things. A lot of people seem to like this. It is a YA horror. How that goes. But I do have the audiobook and the physical book, and I noticed, I don't know if you can tell, it's like textured right here and it looks like honeycombs. I think it's adorable. I love books with bees on the cover and have to do with bees. I loved Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. I love that book. Has to do with bees. There's bees on the cover. And I also love The Starless Sea, which has a bee on the cover and deals with bees, kind of. But this one scared the shit out of me. I get distracted by work a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna read this one. I hope I like it. It has a bunch of bees all over it. It's called The Honeys. Hopefully I like it. I do like YA horror. I have found that that is something that I do enjoy, so I think I'm gonna like this. I've heard really good things, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna go get my kids, and we're just gonna have a fun day. I'm actually gonna start editing this video while I have a second, because if I'm gonna be putting this up tonight or tomorrow, I gotta start working on editing. So yeah, here we go.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go.
Okay, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm exhausted, but I wanted to do one last update for the day. I did get to 115 pages into The Honeys, and I am really enjoying this. I will talk about this more in my next video my next day tomorrow because I just don't have the brain capacity right now to do that. I'm really tired. I'm taking off all my makeup. My face is really itchy. Anyway, but I'm really enjoying this. The audiobook is really good. It has like sound effects. And yeah, really enjoying this, but I wanted to update you real quick before I went to bed to kind of wrap up this video. I feel like I had a really productive first day of Weekendween, having finished, you know, 2 1/3 books right now. So my goal tomorrow is to finish this one, and then I'll have 2 days to maybe pick up 1 or 2 more books. So yeah, really enjoying this, really loving Weekendween so far. I'm really hoping that there will be some content tomorrow that I can watch while I'm doing this. I do have a couple games, a soccer game and a baseball game with my kids tomorrow, so I won't be able to read as much hopefully, but I do have the audiobooks. That's what we're gonna do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.